Hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion. I am your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Wildcard Sunday 2024 edition. And what an interesting Sunday this was for wildcard games. You had the Cowboys versus the Packers. Packers versus Cowboys, and what was thought to be a competitive game, or at least looked like it would have been a competitive game, and it was not. And then you had the Rams versus the Lions, and what was a competitive game and a feel-good moment for a franchise and a city and its fans. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with the Green Bay Packers. And this young team hit an instant growth spurt and showed that the future is now. The Packers demolished the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. Repeat, the Packers demolished the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. Jordan Love had an efficient performance, completing 16 out of 21 passes for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he did it with some assistance from Aaron Jones, who recorded 21 carries for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with some assistance from the defense. Darnell Savage scoring on a pick 6. Green Bay, the youngest team among this year's playoff squad, didn't just show potential for a long-term future. It put the top-seeded 49ers on notice for next week's contest. The Packers have won 4 straight games, and you can see the confidence in their performances. In his first full season as a full-time starter, Love looks like a franchise quarterback with the tools to lead Green Bay on a deep playoff run. He's a mobile single corner with a strong arm, and he's pinpoint accurate, completing at least 64.1% of his passes in 8 of his last 9 games. Love has a bevy of pass catchers 25 years old or younger at wide receiver and tight end. On Sunday, Romeo Doubs led the group with 6 catches for 151 yards and a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks and Luke Musgrave also scored as well. 29 years old, Aaron Jones is the other statement of the group, but has provided complimentary balance, rushing for 111 plus yards and 4 consecutive outings. San Francisco will still be favored over Green Bay in the divisional round, but the Packers' young, hungry bunch won't go down without a fight, and they have already exceeded expectations this year. So yeah, what a win for Green Bay. It was fair to criticize this team going into the season for the way the roster was constructed, but give them credit. They pushed through all that, and they found a way to make it work. It wasn't pretty at first, but they really turned things around. And also the defense, too. I mean, the way the defense just shut down the Cowboys' offense was impressive. They had a D coordinator who looked like he was on the way out to basically saving his job, seemingly. Dallas Cowboys. So there is a big question hanging over the Cowboys. There's multiple questions, but I think the biggest question is, should the Cowboys pull the plug on Mike McCarthy and his low ceiling tenure? So Cowboys owner Jerry Jones will need to think about how he's going to evaluate his good but not Super Bowl caliber football team. Jones should start with the biggest decision, which will be head coach Mike McCarthy. Now McCarthy, to his credit, has shown he's good enough to lead the Cowboys to division titles in 12-win seasons, but one can argue that Dallas might need a fresh new mind to get the club over the top. In each of his last 3 campaigns, the Cowboys have been knocked out of the playoffs before the championship game, losing to the 49ers twice before Sunday's loss to Green Bay. While some may believe that McCarthy deserves to keep his job with a 63% regular season win percentage in Dallas, ESPN's Untitled Chapter reported that the Cowboys' playoff performance could determine the strength of his job security, and based on the report, which stated that the Cowboys suffered a humiliating playoff loss, that McCarthy might lose his job. And considering how humiliating this playoff loss was, Jones might be fuming afterwards. Typically, owners don't like to be embarrassed by their teams in the playoffs in their home stadium, and because of that, consequently, McCarthy might lose his job as a result. Hate to see it. He's been successful. He's been winning, but I mean, you could make the same argument for Marvin Lewis. He was there in Cincinnati for many years. He won a lot. I don't remember if he left with a winning record. He probably did, but when it came to playoff time, he never won a playoff game, and eventually Paul Brown had to pull the plug on him too. And Mike McCarthy, I think we've kind of seen what he can do. He can win you games. He can get you into the postseason, but he can't quite get you to the championship game. That seems to be where his ceiling is at, and that's a pretty low ceiling. So Jerry Jones will have to decide if he wants to tolerate that or what else he wants to do. And also, I mean, it's also on, Dak Prescott for having a terrible performance, and perhaps maybe Dak Prescott is no longer the franchise quarterback in Dallas. Perhaps maybe that extension that was thought to be coming might not be coming, or if it is, it might not be that elite. No, it might not be an elite number, or it might not be that franchise quarterback type of money. And also the defense too. I mean, the Cowboys are supposed to have a good defense, but got exposed in the run. Run in pass wise. I don't know if that's going to affect Dan Quinn's bids for a head coaching job. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But as a whole, the Cowboys just play terrible team football. Los Angeles Rams. So, great way to close out the season here. They looked like they weren't going to make it in the end, but they looked like they were going to make it, but in the end, they didn't make it in. But their playoff window, it's not completely closed, but this offense is going to need to be reloaded if they want to keep it open. So Matthew Stafford will turn 35 years old in a few weeks. Over the past couple of seasons, Cooper Kupp has battled injuries and his receiving numbers have dropped a bit. He'll be 31 years old in June. Versatile offensive lineman Joe Noteboom, who signed a 3-year, $40 million extension in 2022, isn't a reliable option at left tackle because of his injury history and subpar play at the position. In the offseason, the Rams once again must reload on the offensive side of the ball. Over the past couple of years, the Rams found a couple 5th-round gems in Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua, so at the very least you're set at running back and wide receiver. I mean, Puka could be your wide receiver one. He might as well be your wide receiver one considering how unreliable Cooper Kupp has been because of injuries. Now, General Manager Les Snead has to find a left tackle to protect Stafford. Better pass protection could extend his career. The Rams should also add a third wide receiver in case Kupp needs to play fewer snaps in his season. Keep in mind that Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson will be free agents in March. They will command a lot of money, but you might not be able to re-sign both. Perhaps the team adds another running back to complement Williams in the backfield. Also, who's going to be Stafford's primary backup? It was thought to be Stenson Bennett, but he kind of just disappeared. He went on the non-football injury list, and nobody ever heard of him again. So, who knows if he's okay? Who knows where he's at? Hopefully he's alive and well somewhere, or at least alive in a good enough place. But that dude just kind of vanished. If the Rams want to stay in the playoff mix, they will need reinforcements to maintain their top 8 scoring offense. Detroit Lions. So, with Dan Campbell as the head coach, they have discovered some Motor City mojo, and this year it gives them an edge and also an opportunity to host a divisional round game. So the Lions win their first division title in 30-something years? Something like that. I mean, because they never... The last time they won a division title, as you all know, was the NFC Central, not the NFC North. So they win their first NFC North title. They host their first playoff game in some odd years, and then they win their first playoff game since 1991. So that Motor City mojo has got them rolling. They're going to be hosting, like I said, another playoff game in the divisional round, and they will host either the Buccaneers or the Eagles. And it's been said often that these are the brand new Lions, and I think after this game we can officially say that yes, these are indeed the brand new Lions, who beat the Rams to win their first playoff game since the 91 season. As expected, the Lions offense put pressure on the Rams to keep pace, but their defense should get credit for its red zone stands throughout the contest, as Los Angeles failed to score a touchdown on all 3 of its red zone trips. Because the 2-seeded Cowboys lost to the 7-seeded Packers, Detroit will host either the Buccaneers or Eagles next week. At home, the Lions have the 5th best average scoring margin league-wide. Furthermore, both the Buccaneers and Eagles have a glaring weakness in pass defense, ranking 29th and 31st respectively in yards allowed per game. The Lions match up well with whoever wins between the Buccaneers and Eagles, with a 6-2 home record plus a monumentous victory in front of their crowd. The Lions have Motor City mojo on their side going into the divisional round. Jared Goff, who threw for 277 yards and a touchdown against Los Angeles, could post big passing numbers next week. So, we'll see who they face. But it would not surprise me if the Lions made it to the championship game at the rate that they're going. And with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below.